Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth with StampedTreasures.com, and this is the third video in a series of 3 for now of videos on using the Stamparatus in different ways. So I'm not going to go into details on how to use the Stamparatus or different features of the Stamparatus because I have filmed a video in the past that goes over those details, and I will link that in the description below. But in a nutshell, the Stamparatus is a stamp positioning tool that was designed by Stampin' Up! And a team of demonstrators. Okay, and if you are watching this video before June 1st of 2018, it is something that is not available at the moment, but it will be in the 2018 annual catalog, which begins in June 1st. So there are several of us who do have it because it was available by reservation towards the end of 2017 and then the beginning of, actually no, it was at the end of 2017. So we were able to reserve it, and knowing that it wouldn't be available again until the next annual catalog was released. So this, I've had a bit of time to play with this, and it is a fabulous stamp positioning tool. It just makes doing certain techniques so much easier, and I filmed, like I said, this is the third in a series of 3 videos, so I will link the other 2 videos in the description below so that you can check those out and just learn some different ways that you can use it. Okay? Alright, so today we are going to make this card here. So I'm going to show you how you can use your Stamparatus and a template that you create to get this kind of wreath type look to it. Okay? Or using it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, first of all, the stamp set that I'm using is called Happy Birthday Gorgeous, and it is in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. And it's got some beautiful floral images and then lots and lots of great greetings. Okay, so we're going to use some of the floral images, as well as the greetings. Okay, so let me take this out. I have easy access to the stamps. Okay, now the first thing that you want to do before you create this card is you're going to create a template. So this template I created from a window sheet, and the window sheet measures 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then I've cut a piece of 3¼ by 3¼ inch cardstock. I found the center of the window sheet and used a Sharpie marker to trace around the edges. And then what I did was, again, I rotated it 1/4 turn, and you want to make sure that it's precise. So these points should meet the center of all 4 sides. Okay? And then I've traced around the scrap piece of cardstock again. Okay? And now for this particular video, you actually only need 1 of these squares, and it doesn't matter which one you use. You can even switch it up once you're switching images, and I'll kind of explain what I mean in a minute. It'll make more sense in a minute. Okay? So I'm going to put my template on because I'm using photopolymer stamps. I've got my black foam. I've got my silicone mat, which I've explained in a different video. That makes a world of difference. With the photopolymer stamps, I find you just need just that touch bit more height, and the silicone mat is perfect for it. So I have a silicone mat that I keep just with my Stamparatus. And then I'm going to put the template on and make sure everything is lined up in the corner, and then my magnet is going to hold my template on. I'm not going to worry about holding my cardstock on because I'm going to be rotating my cardstock so much that it's not needed. Okay? So I'm going to pick my first image, and I'm going to use this guy here, which is this one here, and I'm going to position it kind of where I think I want it. And I've got my cardstock in the center of that template. Now, it doesn't, like I said before, it doesn't matter whether you start with this one or start with this one. I just happen to put my cardstock like that, so we'll go with that one. And I'm going to close it. Doesn't matter if my cardstock gets stuck to it because I can just line it right up in here. Now I am using Perfect Plum ink, which is an ink that is retiring at the end of May. Ink up my image, and I got and then I'm going to stamp it down. And then I'm going to rotate it a quarter of a turn, and whichever square that you start with for the first 4 goes around, you want to stick with that square. So, sorry, that is my daughter. She just came home, letting me know she's home, if you heard that little squeal. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate it another quarter of a turn, ink it up again, and I'm going to do this 4 times on all 4 sides. And then rotate one more time. And stamp it down. Okay, so now I'm done with this image. Now if you wanted more of these images, you could actually do it 8 times, and you would line it up, and then you would rotate it just 1/8 of a turn. And so you would go using both squares. But I only want 4 of these. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to use the same flower, but the smaller version of that flower. And I'm going to position it, I want it probably right about there. Close that. Ink it up again. I'm going to stick with the same color since it's the same type flower. Rotate it a quarter of a turn. Stamp it again, another quarter of a turn. Stamp it again, and one more time. And stamp it again. I'll clean this, and then I'm going to choose another floral image from this same set. Except this time it's this one here. And I'm going to position it right there. Close it down, and I want different color this time. This time we are going to use So Saffron. Okay. Ink that up, stamp it down, rotate it a quarter of a turn, ink, stamp, rotate, so it's stamping it in the exact same spot each time. And the last time. Okay, so now we're going to do our leaves. So I'm going to choose 2 different leaves from here, and let's do that guy and this tiny little one. I'm just going to clean the back of this just to make sure it sticks. Okay, so you position those where you want them. I think I'm happy with that. I apologize if my head was in the way. And then we'll pull in some green. So this time I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. And position my cardstock. Ink those little guys up. Stamp them down. Rotate it a quarter of a turn. Ink. And stamp. And then another quarter of a turn. Ink and stamp. And one more quarter of a turn. Stamp. So there we go. So you can see how you've got this nice, beautiful circular image. Now I could go back and add more leaves if I want, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. We're just going to stick with what we've got here. And let's get the Stamparatus out of the way, and we'll finish up our card. Okay. So now I have got a standard size card base in Perfect Plum. So this measures 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored at 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock, which measures, I believe it's 4 1/8 by, it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, if I remember correctly. And then I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece that I've embossed using this Petal Burst embossing folder. Okay, so I'm just going to use my fast fuse to stick that on there. This is going to go in the center. So I've got just like a really thin 1/16 of an inch border, vanilla border all the way around. And then I'll stick that on my card base. Okay, I think I had the sizes wrong. My vanilla piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and then this piece is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, because that's 1/8 of an inch around the edge there. Okay, so this piece, remember, this is 3 1/4 by, or was 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So this is a piece of elegant eggplant, which is also retiring, that measures 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. And I'm just going to stick this to the center of my eggplant piece. And then I've got a piece of our Shimmer Pear Pizzazz ribbon, and I'm going to fold it in half. Oops. So I've just stuck a mini glue dot on there just to hold those ends together, and then stick another one on and add it to the bottom corner like that. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. And almost time to replace my dimensionals here. Does anybody else use them all the way around? I never waste any of my dimensionals. Those edges are just as good as the dimensionals in the center. So I always trim them down and just keep using them. Okay. So now this is going to go in towards the top, centered side to side. So I've got an even border along the left and the right and the top. Looks good. Okay, and then I've gone ahead and I've pre-done this. So this is the Happy Birthday from the Happy Birthday Gorgeous set, stamped in eggplant, punched out using I believe it's a 2-inch circle punch. Let me just measure just to make sure. Yep, 2-inch circle punch. And then I punched a starburst shape using, or from Pear Pizzazz, or not Pear Pizzazz, Perfect Plum. And then used some of our black metallic thread and just kind of wrapped it around there. And once you put this on top of your wreath, it's not super noticeable unless you're looking closely. But I like the little addition that it adds. And then I've got some dimensionals on there, and this will just get popped in the center, like that. And there's the card front done. For the inside, I cut a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of very vanilla cardstock. I stamped the Make-A-Wish and It's Your Day using eggplant. And then I used this solid floral image in So Saffron and stamped it just to dress up the inside just a little bit. And then this will go right here, a nice 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, and the card is done. So there are both of the cards. So you can see that they look a little bit different, slightly different, just because of the way I positioned them. Okay, so that is another way that you can use your Stamparatus. It's great for creating different types of wreaths. And you can do wreaths from words, you can do wreaths from more viney images. So you may see another video or two with a few other options for wreaths, but for now, that's the only one that I've played with. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you are not already a subscriber, click subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All right, thanks for watching.